All right, let's get started. Welcome, everybody. We're so happy to have you join us. My name is Rachel Schuster, and I am a part of the admission team here at Prairie. The purpose of tonight's webinar is to highlight all of the ways that Prairie works to foster a sense of community within and across our three divisions for our students and for their families. And we want to give you a chance to hear from members of that community. So trust me, there are plenty of them. We'll be able to hear everything they have to say one at a time coming up. Before we get started, just a few reminders. As a guest, your camera is off and you're muted. But you do have the opportunity to post questions if you use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. My colleague Callie is sitting here and she will be monitoring your questions. We'll attempt to answer as many of them as we can. Like I said, we do have a pretty full program, but if we can't answer your question live for whatever reason, someone will follow up with you after tonight. Like I said, I'll introduce you to several members of our faculty as well as some current students and parents. And just a reminder to the panelists, I'll remind you when to turn your camera and mic back on. Okay, I think that's all the housekeeping, so we'll get started. Like I said, we're going to talk tonight about what community looks like in each of the three divisions. We have a primary school, a middle school, and an upper school here at Prairie. So it only makes sense that we will start with the youngest students. Primary school serves students as young as 3. At that point, the concept of community is something that needs to be explained and taught, and so that students can intentionally build those relationships at an early age. So to tell us a little bit more about that, I would like to invite Kim Lineweber, who's a member of our Compass team. There she is. Hi, Kim. There we go.
Hi.
Kim, can you tell us a little bit about the roles you've played at Prairie and how long you've been here?
Sure. So I'm Kim Lineweber. I am currently the early school through 5th grade learning specialist. I've also been a 3rd grade teacher here and a 2nd grade teacher here. I also am a past parent. So I have 2 children that went through and graduated from the upper school. One that started in early school, so she was there 15 years. Like I said, I've been here 15 years, and I've been the learning specialist for the past 4.
Yeah, I said the word Compass, and I know that you mentioned you're the learning specialist. Can you talk a little bit about what Compass is for folks who might not know?
Sure, I'd love to. So the Compass program is a program that's run here at Prairie, and it includes 3 learning specialists, a speech and language therapist, an OT. We have 2 school psychologists. We have a school nurse, and then the head of our Compass is also the head of the middle school, Kathy Boero. And it's a program that really works specifically to meet all the varied needs of all of the students. So that could be social emotional learning, that could be academic, remediation or extension. And this is a program that works really from the 3-year-olds on through the 12th grade.
So in all of the titles of the people who are a part of that team, it's really clear that Compass is concerned with like wraparound, right? And so when we talk about community in the primary school, that's sort of a wraparound thing too. Can you explain how community and character education come into play in the classroom and in other elements of the primary school?
Yep, so I'll speak specifically to primary school and the new character education program. So we started a program called Frenzy, and it's actually a curriculum that's used all the way through the 8th grade. What's great about it is that allows kind of consistent vocabulary to be used from grade to grade. So all of the students are really taught these catchphrases, but they're used consistently throughout the school. So the lessons include quality literature, and they're also not only taught specifically in regards to that curriculum, but then what I love about the program is so many real life situations come up that character education has to be taught during those real life situations. So teachers take advantage of that vocabulary that was taught to maybe talk about something that happened at recess, talk about things that have happened during a classroom situation or interaction. But the kids will hear that at those, those phrases or those words, possibly at recess time, but then, they'll revisit it during the specific lesson too. But there are a lot of other ways that is built into just our community, not just within the classroom and within lesson time or within the specific classroom. So primary school has a great thing, and they're called community meetings. So that's a meeting that's held monthly. And each of those frenzy topics or catchphrases that the students will be learning the next month is kind of introduced during those meetings. But the great thing about the community meeting is it's not only a time to talk about that character education piece, but it's also a time for a lot of people within the whole Prairie community to get together. So for example, specific to the primary school, each monthly community meeting is led by one classroom. So because the students in those classrooms differ so much, what's great about it is two kids can be the MCs and kind of lead the discussion. But if some students aren't really confident with themselves or just aren't comfortable doing that, what they then will do is they can maybe be in the group within that classroom that creates the calendar. Maybe they only want to speak a little bit, so they can get up in front of the whole primary school and talk a little bit about maybe one special event that's on that calendar. They can also talk specifically about the Frenzy program and how they've incorporated what that lesson for that month was. So for example, I'll just give an example. This month's catchphrase was teamwork makes the dream work. So there's signage up all over the primary school. Parents or teachers have talked about that a lot during class. But then the students stood up just yesterday and talked a little bit about how that's incorporated in not only the classroom time, but also things like athletic teams they're on, which maybe aren't even specific to Prairie. Also Girl Scouts, how it was incorporated in the lunchroom. So they give different examples of when those are being used or outside of just that lesson or just specifically within their classroom. What I think is really great about the community meetings, more so even than that, is a lot of other groups get involved. So we might have visitors from the upper school come and do maybe a little snippet of the upper school musical that's coming up, just to kind of pique interest. Maybe the middle schoolers are come and play some jazz for the students. But also that, they might have a different teacher come, or one of the extracurricular teams, like a Lego league parent might come and speak to that. So it's really this little primary school community, but then it grows. And kids then I think are more comfortable moving from, one group to the other. So when they transition to middle school, they've had exposure to some of these teachers or parents or students or whatever that they're going to be meeting. I think another great thing, and it's one of my favorite parts, is there's often a lot of music incorporated in those community meetings, and research really shows us that singing together as a group helps build that community. It helps build a sense of belonging. It builds your self-esteem. It boosts your mood. And sometimes our music teacher, Matt Oscarson, will lead a group of kids to sing a song. And everybody just gets very, very excited about that. Sometimes our art teacher, Katie White, will bring pieces of art that students have created and speak to those. So it's really this wonderful opportunity for us to build community. I think there's a couple other ways just that I'll touch on. One of those is we have a program called Early Day, and that's before school. That starts at about 7:15, and parents take advantage of that if they have to get to work. And there's a lot of students go to that program in the morning, but a lot of that signage or that verbiage that's used within our community building meetings is also up and used there by the teachers there. The great thing about that program also is a lot of our upper school students take part in that. So they're building this community between the older kids and the younger kids. So they come and help in the morning. We also have something similar after school called Stay and Play, and that's open until 6 o'clock. And a lot of children, a lot of the students, even some middle schoolers use it almost as a study hall. There's kind of an area for the older kids. There's an area for the younger kids. And again, the upper school students often are really involved in that and work at that area. The last piece that I really see that community building overlap is our summer programs. So we have Hawks Haven, which is kind of like the stay and play program, but it's offered during the summer. And like this past year, we had 60 students in that from Prairie. That also is open to the outside community, which is really a nice opportunity even for new students. And this year, that those summer camps, so that those are smaller, it's not a full day program, and it's, it can be an art camp, it can be a music camp, it can be some academic tutoring, it can be a lot of different things along with those at normal athletic camps. But we've had last summer we had 140 primary school students in that, and over 400 students from Prairie taking part in all of those camps. So the community building doesn't just stop at the end of the school year, which is really great. A lot of the kids still get to come to school, an area that they really are familiar with, and interact even all summer long.
Yeah, that's a cool extension of the school year, like you said, past when classes are over. And I think a lot of what you said, Kim, it's in the primary school, it sounds like it's about introducing the kids to the community as much as it is about introducing the community to the kids.
Mhm.
So thank you for all of that information. I know it's a lot, but those are all super important things that get built up as the kids go into the middle school and the upper school here.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
Speaking of building up, we recognize that the idea of community also shifts a bit as students move from primary into middle school. So to talk a little bit about how that happens, what it looks like in middle school, I would like to invite Allie Gasser, one of our middle school teachers, to join us. Hi, Allie. Allie, can you tell us briefly what you do in the middle school and how long you've been here? And before you do, I'll just remind you to turn your mic on.
Thank you for that reminder. Totally forgot. Hello, welcome. I'm glad all of you could be here today. I'm Allie Gasser, and I am a 5th and 6th grade English teacher. I've been at Prairie this is my 21st year teaching at Prairie. And I'm also the team leader of the 5-6 team. So I help teachers with plans. Well, I don't really help them with plans. I would say I help with figuring out what we're doing for advisory. I work very closely with Kathy Buero just to pull some things together and just meet and talk as a cohesive group. I'm also the organizer of Camp Timberley, which we take kids on an outdoor education experience every year, all of the 5th and 6th graders, for a 2-night, 3-day excursion, which is super fun. And we've been doing that for as long as I've been at Prairie. It's been a big, and even during the pandemic. Last year we did not go, but this year we found a way to make it happen, just not overnight. And I'm also a mom of 3 children. All my children started in early school, and currently I have 1 in primary, 1 in middle, and 1 in high school. So I get to see the whole gamut of how Prairie runs as a community, and it's pretty amazing. Especially because I don't know as much about high school as I know about the other 2 divisions, so it's awesome.
Allie, anyone who is here and has a middle school student, or I guess even has been a middle school student themselves, knows it can be kind of a challenging time, an awkward time. Can you share a bit about how we at Prairie work to make the middle school a safe space for students to continue building community and sort of explore maybe things they started learning about in primary school as they grow older?
So things that I've noticed, sometimes we get new students from middle school, and I do feel very strongly, since I've been a part of the middle school for my entire time at Prairie, is kids are very accepted, even though some kids have been here for a really long time. When we get new students in, I do feel like it takes a minute to figure out where they fit in and where their niche is. But I do feel like we have a really good accepting community, which I love. A big part of that, we also, as Kim mentioned, and I won't say it too much, but we adopted Frenzy, as Kim said before, which I really love. And that's just a great way. We play games then with Frenzy. We do a lot of different things. We did a team building game the other day that was super fun, and the kids loved it and thought it was amazing. And did really well. They had to make these circles, and they all had like different pieces of a pie. And they realized like if one person could make it, but the other 4 people in their team couldn't unless they switched pieces, and they couldn't talk during this activity. And to see, I had 3 different groups in my room trying to do this, all different age, 5th and 6th graders. So they're all mixed up. And it was amazing to see who came out as a leader, who came out just to be helpful, who came out to like show, what 5th grader had some strengths, and what kids worked really, really well together. So I love that part of Frenzy. I think we've definitely got an awesome program that we've adopted here for that. Our other big part of middle school is our advisory. We work with kids in advisory. We see kids what's called our flex time, our advisory time. This is a time for them to be with their homeroom teacher. We're typically with the same teacher for 2 years. We meet with our kids every day for 45 minutes to like go over organization, grade check-in. But that's also just a really great time to get to know our students and our advisees and just see how things are going. Check in with kids and how they're feeling about friendships. If I know somebody's having a bad day, this is a great time for me to check in. If I know that somebody did really well in a basketball tournament, this is also a great time to check in and just be like, hey, I heard you did awesome. Tell me about the game you played. So we definitely make connections that way. And I would say that your homeroom is kind of like your little tiny family, which I love, that we've got this little tiny group that we get together and pull together. I hope nobody can hear my dog scratching at my bedroom door. So those are just some things that I've really noticed. Also, we do a lot of hand holding and just we're there to help kids with academics, but we're also there just to make sure that they're comfortable and their things are going their way. They're happy with things. We do have a lot of co-curricular activities that I want to highlight a couple of them. Some of our co-curricular activities are things that teachers have pulled together. For instance, kids have options to be in jazz band. They have the option to be in the 7/8 musical, the 5/6 musical. My son just auditioned. And when you're in a musical, everybody has a part. It's not like you're going to audition and you're not going to get a part. But they have auditions and they get to try for different things. My son is in jazz club this year, which runs all the way from 6th grade, a few students, all the way through 12th grade. So he is a part of that with kids all the way up through upper school, which he loves. And Jamie Brevik is definitely his favorite teacher, even though I'm his teacher as well. So another thing that I really love about our co-curriculars, we have Lego League, which is held by a parent helps us run Lego League. We have Garden Club that one of our 5th and 6th grade teachers runs that helps with our giving garden. We have Battle of the Books. These are all teacher driven. However, we do have activities that kids ask to be a part of. For instance, this year we had a new student, brand new to school, and he was really into Dungeons and Dragons. And he pulled together, he wanted to start this Dungeons and Dragons club, and it has grown. And we have 2 teachers that are helping be advisors for that. I will speak as a mom because my son is very into Rubik's Cubes, and he and another friend wanted to form a Rubik's Cube club to help other kids solve Rubik's Cubes. So they created their own club. It started right after winter break, and they are loving it. And they try and beat each other's times, but they also really help kids solve Rubik's Cubes and kids that aren't comfortable. And then they can come and try it out. And my son has like 22 different Rubik's Cubes that he is teaching another 5th grader how to solve Rubik's Cube. And the 5th grader did an entire speech in my class now on how to solve a Rubik's Cube for part of our curriculum. So just the tie-ins of like an older student helping a younger student, and then the tie-ins of older students that have just like in jazz club, just really tying into younger kids, I think is one of my favorite aspects of Prairie. So I hope that helps.
Yeah. Well, and I like what you said about them being able to have that point of entry, something that they're interested in, and have that be a way for them to meet people or explore new things.
Yeah.
Rubik's Cube Club is hard to say.
Yeah.
But it sounds interesting.
Oh, wait, yeah. He can solve it in 19 seconds and they've got a competition going on. I'm going, you just do your thing. So it's the middle school, as scary as a place as it is in middle school, everybody goes, oh my God, they remember their middle school years and hate it. I would not want to teach in any other division because our kids are so awesome. And so, I mean, I just love the age of middle school. So it's pretty fantastic.
Well, thanks, Allie. That's a really good transition into upper school because you share a lot of similarities in terms of your advisory program, the fact that you offer co-curriculars and students can sort of follow their interests. I'm not going to step on Mari's toes too much because that's
No.
what I know we're having her here to talk about.
Yes.
So Mari, I will invite you to join us on screen. Mari Grobschmidt is one of our educators in the upper school. Mari, I'm not going to try to name all your roles. I'll let you do it and tell us how long you've been part of Prairie.
Thanks, Rachel. So I have been part of Prairie for 20 years. This is my 20th year, which is a little shocking for me to say. I started at Prairie teaching 3rd grade, and I did that for 14 years. So I was a member of the primary school community, and then I transitioned into my current role with the upper school, and I am the learning specialist in the upper school. And Kim did a nice job explaining kind of what that role looks like for Compass. And I think I would add to that in addition to kind of getting to wrap around students and build community and working with students, I also get to partner with teachers, and I get to help think of different ways to meet students' needs. And I get to partner with families and talk about what the upper school experience looks like at Prairie. And then even kind of moving on as they head off into college, like, how can I be sure that you're ready and prepared and have everything you need to move on? So, so I think those are kind of my main roles, but I do a lot of other things. I think that's something about the community that if we're asked, we do. So.
Yeah, it's a really good way of putting it. Mari, you said upper school experience. If you had to describe the upper school experience in terms of community, can you talk a little bit about what Kim and Allie have told us might sort of transition as kids get older or change as they get older? What does that look like for kids in 9th through 12th grade here?
I think one of the biggest things I could say about community in the upper school is it is all encompassing. Community in the upper school is pretty much the upper school experience. Some of the similar components to middle school and primary school having kind of their community meeting on a monthly basis, and middle school having their morning meetings on alternate days. Upper school comes together every single day in a community meeting kind of way. We call it morning meeting. And so for me, it's one of the best community pieces, because every day to get the whole upper school 9th through 12th grade in the same gathering space is a great kind of part of the day. It happens at the same time every day. And when we all come together, the students sit with their advisors. So similar to what Allie said, like their little kind of homework, like cohort. And just transitioning into that space and that time before anything even begins, you see teachers greeting students, hey, did you get that? Or, can I check in with you later? Or great game last night, and students greeting each other. And it's just, it's kind of this warm, connective moment every single day. And when our morning meeting time starts, it's led by our student government. So that's really great to watch our student leaders be up front and facilitate kind of the conversations of the day. And students go up and make their own announcements. So sports teams will come up and tell you what the scores were or what the game will be tonight and what the theme is. And we have people coming up and talking about the ways Science Olympiad tournament went over the weekend, or community service opportunities. We're going to be taking part in a blood drive, and all of these are students coming up. And we had a whole AP bio class come up and put on a presentation about what cellular respiration was, which is a really complicated process. And to watch 30 plus students walk you through how cellular respiration works, and music performances. We get sneak peeks of what's coming too. So the upper school is going to be performing Chicago. And so they'll put on a performance of just a little taste of what it's going to be like. And teachers will share books that they've written and read you a little excerpt, or poems, or invite you to go take a walk at lunch when the weather's nicer, of course. Or we had a teacher who wanted to teach other students how to play dreidel. And so it's this idea of, I know this and I want to share with you. And it's also a time that when we have visitors come from the outside community, that they can come and share things as well. So it's within our own community, but then it also kind of pulls together the other community as well. So that to me is kind of, how our day starts, is with this feeling of community. But I think another important thing that the upper schools really leaned into over this year and a half is this idea of being connected. And being connected can be something small, but those small connections really bring to larger connections. And so we've embraced this idea of micro connections, kind of thinking about learning something new about someone that you didn't know too well, and learn it from them, not from someone else, or change your mind about somebody for the better. Be kind, refuse to judge someone, even when it's not easy. And we've been invited, our upper school head and community, we've really, out in front of our upper school, there's large glass windows. And the invitation was for students to take these paint markers and write about these prompts that are put up, and start to share these connections that you feel or that you give. And so we've had prompts like, what are your favorite ways to help people? Or what gesture of kindness did you give or receive today? And one of the ones that we just tied up was, what Prairie student or adult do you want to thank and why? And to see students putting up kind of thank yous to the administrative assistant for all that she does in a beautiful acrostic poem, and thank yous to middle school students who have come up, or our facilities team. I think that really speaks to community, that it's everybody. And these prompts change, and the students have really leaned into putting things up there, sharing things. And there's a moment when you read something about someone, you think, I didn't know that, or wow, that's really neat, or oh my gosh, somebody wrote something about me. I think it speaks to the community and what the community is doing, and maybe helping us continue to be connected, which I think is really important. And I think another thing that really speaks to community, and I think both morning meeting and having this opportunity to see what people's gifts are, there are a variety of organizations where we really facilitate intentional connectedness. So organizations, and Allie talked about too, this opportunity that we have some, but you can also create your own. And so students can start to see, I might fit here, or, ooh, that could be really neat, or I want to try this, or I don't know what this is about, and let's go see. So organizations like a multicultural club, or a Red Cross and Service Club, or we have a Spectrum and LGBTQIA Alliance. We have a bad movie club. They're going to be screening a bad movie this week, because they have a love for bad movies. And if it's not there, you create it. And Allie, I'm glad you brought up the Rubik's Cube Club. I just spoke to an upper school teacher today who's so excited about that and wants to see how that could spread even into upper school. So the community, we're striving to stay connected, keep being connected, find different ways to be connected. Because I think it's really important to cultivate this environment of a common connectedness, and just really appreciate individual contributions to the whole community.
Gosh, Mari, I don't even know how to transition out of everything you said. But you're right. It is connection, and it's trying to weave connection throughout not just each individual class or each individual division. It's throughout the whole school, and those are a lot of the ways that the upper school has sort of spearheaded those efforts, which is really cool. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Since Mari did such a great job, I actually want to build off of what some of the stuff she was talking about, specifically some of those offerings we have for students to join clubs or join other co-curriculars or athletics. We actually have two student athletes on with us tonight from the upper school. So Ava and Reese, if you guys wouldn't mind turning your cameras and microphones on. This might be a little tough with three of us, but I'll try to tell you who I'm going for. We'll start with you, Ava. Can you tell us what year you are in school and when you came to Prairie?
I'm a 10th grader, at Prairie, and I came in 5th grade.
5th grade. Okay, what about you, Reese?
I'm also a 10th grader, and I came to Prairie in the middle of 6th grade.
Okay. So guys, Miss G just mentioned club offerings and other ways that students in your division of upper school engage outside of the classroom. We see a lot of participation in athletics as a way of people being involved. I know you're both part of the girls basketball program.
Yeah.
Can you tell us, we'll start with you, Reese. Can you tell us a little bit about how the team works together to create community when you're playing and when you guys are off the court?
Yeah. So first of all, our team is really close this year. Obviously, I think of them as a family because we're with each other a lot, and like I see them more than I think sometimes I see my family. Like during the week, I'm with them a lot, and so like basketball season is really long, so we kind of have to like learn to like live with each other, and that hasn't been a problem with us because we're all great friends. There's no like drama on the team or anything. So like on the court, I came up with like a few examples. So like just little things like team huddles before games. Like we'll just get together and kind of like just get our team together and like kind of hype each other up and be like, we got this, guys. The bench during games is also a big part of our team. My mom uses a term, which it's not her term. She stole it from the UWM coach, but she says Benergy. And I think our team has great Benergy, like, and it's really important because during games we need that energy on the court if we're like down or if we're not doing well or something like that. And like I think something really flattering that happened was someone came to watch our game, and then they actually texted my mom, which is the coach, afterward, and was like, the first thing she noticed about our team was like how well our team culture was, how well like our like bench energy was. And like I thought it was really cool to hear because like that's something we focused on this year because last year we didn't have so much of that. So yeah. So being supportive of other people's victories and then other small things like picking up teammates if they like physically fall, or like high-fiving when they come out, or just saying good shot and like celebrating each other. And then off the court, again, we're all like great friends off the court. Like I always say, like, even if we weren't on the same basketball team, I think we would be all best friends anyways because we share so much, like so many interests. So an idea that Ava actually gave me, because I'm the team captain, she gave me an idea that she wanted me to share with the team. She said that she suggests that we should have lunch together as a team every game day. So we just started that on Tuesday, and it was actually like so fun. So like credits to Ava for that idea. So like having like stuff like having lunch together with the team really brings us together and like bring like it builds team chemistry because team chemistry is so important on and off the court. Yeah, like team dinners and then small things like we wear matching outfits on game days, make TikToks together, or just being there for them if they need anything like off the court. Like if they're having a bad day, we can always like help each other up. And so I think community in sports is really big for Prairie girls basketball because I think it's a big reason why we're doing well this year, because last year we didn't have that. So, and we're doing better, way better this year with the team culture and team community. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that you call it team culture because you're right. There's what, 5 of you guys on the court, or you girls on the court at a time, and the rest of the team is still there. They're still a part of it.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Ava, props for the idea of lunch too. That's pretty cool. I want to give you a chance to talk a little bit about basketball or other co-curriculars you might be part of. I know something we've sort of talked about that everybody in the upper school is part of is the buddy program. I don't remember who mentioned that, but how upper school, middle school, and primary school students sort of interact every once in a while. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and explain to people what that is?
Yeah, so this year we haven't really gotten to do that, and also last year because of COVID. But when we used to have buddies, I remember I read to my buddy. I get like, I think it's like if you're in eighth grade or older, you get a like kindergarten and first grade buddy. And we do a lot of like bonding. I remember we did like little games, like competitive games with our buddy, and it was really fun because you got to interact with somebody that's younger than you, and that eventually will be you in the upper school. So it was really cool to see like younger kids participate in our primary school, especially since I never went to primary school here. And it kind of made me wish that I went to primary school here because the community is great, and I just really liked our primary school when I did have a buddy.
That's cool. Thank you guys for sharing that. I don't know if anybody is Jackson's buddy who's on here, if you guys know Jackson, but we're going to bring Jackson on now too. Jackson Boticki is a middle school student, along with community inside the school, which the girls talked about, and thank you both so much for sharing. Students within all three divisions are encouraged to extend and translate what they learn in the school community out into the greater community. And Jackson is a student leader who's been, like I said, leading the charge on some of that. So Jackson, before I let you talk about it, this project, I want you to share, if you can, what year you are in school and when you first came to Prairie.
I am a 7th grader, and I first came to Prairie when I was in 3rd grade.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about what you're involved in school. Now that we're hearing from basketball players and we heard about Rubik's Cube Club and Bad Movie Club, what sort of stuff do you do outside of class?
Outside of class, well, I'm gonna start with like even an English project we did in 7th grade, where we picked a book and picked a world problem that went with the book. And after we read the book, we chose to help out the community like with that choice. So for me, I chose like animal cruelty, and what I did was help the zoo out and make a flyer to become a zoo member to spread knowledge about the zoo. So I thought that was a really cool thing that we did.
Yeah, that is cool. And I know that you are an advisory rep, like Miss Gasser was talking about advisories, how you guys sort of come together as a group, and you're a representative for yours, isn't that right?
Yes.
What does that mean? What do you do as an advisory rep?
As an advisory rep, you are placed in a role to help decide decisions for the outcome of the middle school or even part of the school. Like I know how the middle school advisory reps all got together to describe and discuss about how this year's snow carnival is going to plan, and even Spirit Week.
Yeah, you guys are in charge of a lot. I forgot about that because what I was going to ask you about is your community support project. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that has sort of been something that you guys do to reach out to the community outside of Prairie?
Yeah, so another thing about advisory rep is we had someone come to school and she talked and we listened. And there's a project called Faith, Hope, and Love, which is for children who haven't lived in the best homes and might be going homeless or hungry. And what we're doing is we have set up places where you can like donate a flashlight, a book, a blanket, and we will be donating that to the Faith, Hope, and Love.
So a collection, you guys are collecting this stuff, and you as the advisory reps are in charge of telling all your classmates about it and getting that spearheaded, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's super cool. And you play basketball too, don't you, Jackson?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I've seen you out there before. Thank you for sharing. I do want to ask Reese and Ava to come back. I completely forgot to ask what other activities that you girls are involved in other than basketball in the upper school, because we want to give people an idea of some of the other things that you do. So Reese, what else are you involved in?
I just want to say, I think Ava got logged out. She just texted me,
Oh, that's okay. Maybe she'll
but
hop.
I think she's coming back in. But I'm involved in theater. Like I do a lot of theater. I'm in choir. I'm in student government, honor committee, and obviously leadership society. And also I'm in performing arts club, but I don't know if you would count that. That counts as theater, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I count that. I think everybody counts that.
Mhm.
You said honor committee. Can you just really quickly, like in a sentence or two, describe what that is?
Honor committee is basically you're kind of like it's like a student court. Like if someone like plagiarize, it's like a panel of people and probably like I don't know 12. And if someone in the upper school like plagiarizes, then they would come to honor committee and we kind of decide their consequence. And it's really cool because like Miss Davis is there and she runs it, but like in the end, the students really kind of control it and like decide what the student consequences.
You guys are advising Miss Davis, who's the dean of students.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a partnership between the teacher and the students to sort of keep your classmates accountable, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Cool. And Ava, I thank you, Reese. Sorry, I don't mean to cut
Yeah.
you off.
Okay.
Ava, I see that you joined us again, and I'm wondering if you can tell us what else you're involved in addition to basketball.
So I'm also in Leadership Society and peer mentoring. Leadership Society is basically we do meetings and we kind of it's basically what it sounds like, Leadership Society. We do a lot of like buddies. We get buddies that come that are looking at our school and we help them. We also do like welcoming things. Like I know in the beginning of the school year we did like um I think it was like a before like school year like kickback or something. I forgot what it's called, but we had like I think we had Chick-fil-A there and we got to know a lot of the new families that were coming in. And the Leadership Society is like I love that club because it's very welcoming and we all get to see who's coming to our school and make bonds with them, which is something that I know a lot of schools don't do. And then peer mentor is basically we do a lot of like before like tests or something, we make like midterms, we make trick bags, which is really fun to encourage the students. And then we also do like holiday things. For Halloween, we make cookies and like decorate them. And it was really fun because I got to sit with people I don't normally talk to and make new friends. And then we also do like we watch movies during the holidays or something like that.
So you're involved with community within the school that already exists and then bringing new students into that community. It sounds like that's what you're doing. Very cool. Thank you, girls, for coming back on and sharing. I appreciate it. So now we've talked to faculty, we've talked to students, and I want to make sure that we hear from a parent because when a student enrolls at Prairie, we're not just welcoming them, we're welcoming their whole family. So I'm going to invite Nick Pitts to join us on screen. Hey, Nick.
Hello, everybody.
I need a headset like that.
Yeah, this is my fancy work headset.
Yeah, I like it. Nick, can you tell us the ages and grades of your kids?
Yes, so I have 3 kids at Prairie. One is 12, the other one 9, and the other one 6. So I've got a 6th grader, a 3rd grader, and a 1st grader.
So 1 in middle school and 2 in primary school.
That's right. Yep.
Cool. How long ago did your family join Prairie?
So we joined 7 years ago.
And what have you enjoyed most about being part of this community? We're hearing about what the kids are involved in and how they're partnering with their teachers, but how, as a parent, sort of coming in and looking in after the school day, have you gotten involved?
All right, so I have to say, for the record, I am an accountant, and so I am not outgoing, and I am an introvert. And so when Molly asked me, Nick, we'd like you to talk about, your involvement in the Prairie community, I was like, oh boy, I don't know if you have the right person. So I started to jot some notes down and I was looking through and I was like, wait a minute. Okay, the list is growing. The list is growing. I got quite a few things here that I could talk about. And so if Prairie can get me, an introvert, an accountant, to come out and not even realize it, they must be doing something good. So I'll talk about maybe just a couple of things that I enjoy doing the most through the school. The first and foremost is coaching. So I played basketball my entire life, and so I coach my two oldest kids at Prairie. So the sixth grade girls team, I've been coaching them the last couple of years, and then my son is a third grader, and I've been coaching him and a lot of the kids in his class for the last several years. I think we started when they were in first grade. So I love doing that because it's a good way for me to get to know not only the parents a little bit more when they pick them up from practice or games or in between games or what have you, but it also helps me get to know the kids too. So when I see them out, I know who they are and I feel more comfortable saying, hey, how's it going? And that sort of thing. So basketball for me and sports is kind of top of mind. And that's something that I really value and I appreciate the school letting me do that. The second thing I would say is just like the music and school plays. So my kids are also involved in music. They both, all three of them now actually play the piano. And so I really enjoyed when the school has, concerts, being able to go, after work and see them play, or even on a Saturday coming out and going to the school auditorium and see not only them play, but also the kids in their class. And I'm just always amazed at how multi-talented some of these kids are with like doing both sports and music and all that. So that's been really cool to see not only my kids get better, but also get to know other parents that are more on the music side of things. um, Kind of along the same lines, there's a Christmas concert that the school does. I'm talking about the 12 days of Christmas in the gymnasium, where all the schools, all the grades come together and they do their 12 days of Christmas. It's something that I look forward to every year, and sit in the gym and kind of watch some of the students perform, and then the kids go around and screaming and shouting their song out. That's always a big kick. Um, and then like there's a lot of outdoor events that the school does too. Some of my favorites are the fall festival every year, where you guys get bounce houses and good catered food and some good drinks and music. And so my kids always really appreciate going to fall festival and running around. And again, it's another opportunity for me to get to know some of the other parents and talk with them. Another one is family movie night out on the lawn. We've participated in that probably every year. You can see, like, as I was writing these things down, I'm thinking, wow, I'm really active in the Prairie community. Family movie night, when you guys get out the big screen and we get out the bug spray and, the popcorn and the kids are running around. Some people are throwing a baseball, a football, and then as soon as 9 o'clock rolls around and the sun goes down, everybody's sort of is quiet for the first half hour. That's always a good time. And then something maybe outside of like the family unit thing is the annual golf outing. I look forward to that every year too, where we go to a local golf course and participate in that. Again, it's another opportunity to get to know other parents of the school, some of which have actually become like my best friends over the last 7 years. So that's been really good. And then maybe just three other ones really quick. The first thing is the gingerbread house. I almost forgot with the holidays. So going to the school, and Biff and I, we always have a blast doing that, especially because we don't have to clean it up afterwards either. So thank you guys for cleaning it up. That's always good. Um, there's also a parent night that we do at a local farm in Racine, where I think we do it once or twice a year. But that's also another cool event where we go into one of the greenhouses and it's again catered, good music, good food, and I let my wife introduce me to a lot of new people because I'm usually standing in the corner if I don't know somebody. But now I'm at a point where I feel like I've met enough people where I can kind of make my way around, and she's proud of me because of that. And then the very last thing is the dad's virtual beer tasting that we had this last year. And that was an auction item that I bid on and won, and it was hosted by two of my best friends. And we had probably 15 dads on the call, and it was perfect time to do it because it was during COVID. And we sampled a lot of beers that, the school had, arranged ahead of time and dropped off. And so that was another really fun thing that, I did, and hopefully we'll do it again. So all that to say is I feel like I am proud of myself for participating in this many events. And it really, at the end of the day, on a more serious side, it does help to just make the relationships more natural with the teachers and the parents and all that. Because I think at the end of the day, you're trying to build a relationship with the school so that so we can work together to give our kids the best experience possible. And when that's more natural, it's a lot easier. And I think the kids appreciate that. So, yeah.
Nick, I was impressed with your list, and then you said just 3 more.
Just 3 more. I was writing them down. I was on a roll. I was getting proud of myself. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna keep going with this. Yes. All right.
Good. And I like what you said about it is, you're meeting the kids, you're meeting the other parents, but you're also interacting with the teachers, and it's really like bringing all of that community building full circle. So
right.
We're proud of you too.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Okay, so we threw a lot of information at you, and we know a lot of people attending are probably considering whether Prairie is the place for them. So I'd like to bring my colleague, Molly Lofquist-Johnson on, who's our Senior Director of Admission. Hi, Molly.
Hi.
Can you speak a little bit about how our application process works? Because like I said, maybe some people have liked what they heard and they're thinking about sending in an application. Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. So yes, my name is Molly. I work in the admission office and part of a great team of people who are here really to be a resource for you. If you are thinking about moving through that application process, our first recommendation is always to come in for a tour. Even though it's COVID times, we are still offering personal tours during regular school hours. So you could schedule a time with myself or Callie or even our intern, lots of different people to kind of give you a sense of what the school is like during a regular school day. You can feel what the classrooms are experiencing. You can see that interaction between the teachers and the kids. So that's definitely going to be your first step. As we help you move through that admission process, there's online forms that you would fill out and kind of all the boring stuff, but truly getting on campus, either coming for a tour or kind of keeping track of some of the different opportunities to visit that we have on our website. We're doing another spotlight at the end of February, focused specifically on leadership. Like this one was on community, that one will be on leadership. We are doing a traditional open house in May, where you could come to school anytime during a 2-hour time frame to meet teachers and see program. Granted, it's on a weekend, so you don't necessarily get to see school in session, which is again why we really push for those tours. But again, if there are questions that you have, if you think this is something that you might want to pursue for your children, don't hesitate. Give us a call, shoot us an email. We are kind of here for you.
Thanks, Molly.
Sure.
I was going to close with a question for each of our panelists about what word comes to mind for Prairie, but we are a little short on time and we promised that we would only keep you for an hour. So Molly, since I have you, why don't I ask you to wrap us up with what word or phrase comes to mind when you think of Prairie?
Okay, so I have also been at Prairie for quite a while. This is my 22nd year, and I am a parent, an alumni parent now, which is also very different. My son graduated from Prairie last fall, and so I have moved from being an active parent for 15 years to now a past parent. But it doesn't matter if it was 22 years ago or today. Prairie is truly a home. It is a family and a community. It doesn't matter if you're a primary school parent or a high school parent, or now, like I am, a past parent, you are a part of Prairie. So that's more than one word, but community is 100% what describes Prairie each and every day. I know it sounds cliche, but honest to God, it's true.
No, I think actually Kim said it at the top when we were talking about Frenzy. She said teamwork makes the dream work. And I think you're right. I think it's a home and it's a place where people, parents, students, teachers, everybody, alumni can all come together and feel like they're home. So I think that's a good one. Okay, everybody, it looks like we're coming to the end of our time. Thank you to all of our panelists, our team, for making the dream work, for offering your perspective. And for those of you attending, if we didn't have time to answer any questions that you either thought of while you were sitting here or that you think of later, you can always reach out to Molly and the admission team. They're here to help. If this conversation has piqued your interest and you're curious to learn even more about Prairie as an option for your family, next steps, like Molly said, would involve coming to campus for a tour, and she can help you with that. You can also, like she said, find the opportunities to visit on our website. We will send that link along with the recording of this session after the event tonight. So thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you to all of our panelists and have a great night.